Hello, everybody. I'm Patrick Donnelly, Program Director of the Frost Place. Welcome to the third evening of readings for the 2025 Poetry Seminar. If you're looking for an online summer poetry conference where your work will get the focused attention of some of America's finest poet teachers, please check out the poetry seminar at frostplace.org. We'd love to have you join us next year. Our readers tonight will be Reyes Ramirez and myself. Reyes Ramirez is the 2025-2027 Houston Poet Laureate. His poetry collection, El Rey of Gold Teeth, was published in 2023. Rigoberto Gonzalez said about that book that Reyes Ramirez write poems that radiate wonder and surprise. He was a finalist for the 2025 Dartmouth Poet-in-Residence at the Frost Place, nominated by Eduardo C. Corral. Please welcome Reyes Ramirez.
Hey everybody, what's up? How's it going? I hope it is going well in your part of the world. That is right, from Houston, Texas. I am its Houston Poet Laureate, something I'm immensely proud of. Um, and the next best thing is, in regards to my poetry pride, El Rey of Gold Teeth came out in 2023. I'll be reading from that today. But another thing I'm extremely proud of is the opportunity to have been considered for the Dartmouth Poet-in-Residence. When Eduardo let me know of the nomination, I was incredibly proud to even be considered, just because there are very few opportunities in life where like someone you looked up to, like I grew up reading Eduardo C. Corral, and he contacts me. He's like, I'm nominating you for something special, and even that in and of itself was such an honor. And now I'm here, and so however the earth turned and history happened for me to be here. Thank you, and thank you for being here in the Zoom room. So I'm going to start off by reading some poems from my collection, El Ray of Gold Teeth. And I have a lot of series poems. And so I have a lot of poems that riff maybe on the same topic or on the same subject or on the same matter. And I really love it's kind of like for me like a our perspective, right? And how like if you look at something from one angle, you'll experience one thing. And if you look at it from another angle, you'll get to witness another aspect of it. And so I have a lot of those types of poems in El Rey of Gold Teeth. And so what I'm going to read you is the series of poems about Houston. Um, because I don't know, maybe I can see how many of you have been to Houston, Texas. All right. Well, for those of you that have been, hopefully this gives you another way to look at it. And if you've never been, hopefully this lets you see a little bit of it. So here we go. The first poem is being stuck in traffic with my big sister on I-45 South at 6 p.m. is my America. Can the radio play hip hop, then cumbia, classic rock, then pop oblea sweet? There's conversations about a war, then prayer, swearing, someone asking why love can hurt so much. Is it because the distance between wanting someone and them wanting you back is so vast, so great? I think it's this gulf of yearning, this tectonic plate of want, reminding us not everything in short lives can be fulfilled, yes. And starting anew takes more life? Oh, for sure. It's static, interrupted by someone speaking in another language, then silence. Look outside the car window. The freeway wall forms a frame bottom to an infinite painting. The sky's a bed of lavender rusted by dying sunshine. Aren't those clouds up there actually loose feathers to a big bird who takes people away with too many questions? Just a graveyard of creamsicles. You're supposed to hold your breath. I'm looking equally at the other drivers. We all face forward. Is every windshield a pair of glasses into a soul's polyester interior, littered with receipts and cups? Every driver's a city without ordinances for what is needed. Every car is its own riddle, like this gray sedan. Look, the bumper has stickers of a team's flag, a radio station that doesn't exist, or maybe Bible verse, and one that says, if you can read this, suck my. Yes, the bumper is truly the windowsill to the soul. The trunk is the soul itself. Now look, In the rear windshield, a kid plays with die-cast toy cars on the back rests. What a film he composes. One sleek car races another. A fire truck crashes into a spaceship. There's even a convertible zigzagging between the headrests and seatbelt straps. His mouth performs explosions. Will I ever be so lucky? I don't know. Maybe the radio sings through old men. Maybe the radio speaks in Spanish about moratoriums. Maybe the radio's broken. Still, he's created this universe of joy within a city of waiting, within a state of waiting, within a nation of violence, within a continent of theft, within this last world. How can we not be so lucky? Tell me, what's right out that window? An atmosphere blotted like fingerprints on a cake. Some painting continues. To birds, we're rows of smelly cans and broken glass. That's good. Here's the exit. This stream of consciousness tributaries. We're breaking away from this one mind. Were we floating in a river of concrete, growling engines, and blood? First it's hot, then it's too cold. Booty and back so stiff, I want to be elsewhere. Well, the world persists despite our desires. We're all sitting and trying to escape our deadline bodies. How do we achieve what's next in our destinies? We enter another sleep. We won't remember this dream when we awake. Um, Thank you, thank you. I can hear your claps in my head. Thank you. Next poem in this series is Finding Kittens After a Tropical Storm is My America. Trigger warning, dead animal. Clouds weep so much, a city can't drink anymore. Streets turn into rivers. Buildings are a shelter or not. I survey around my home. Every surface bloat with wet. Choirs of drips dive from branches. They barely mask the muse, pitiful as pennies dancing in a palm. I locate them by pausing breath, listening beyond speaking water, and find hardly more than fetus. Edgeless mouth struggling to squeak, raw pink paws thrash again for nipples on a rusted air conditioner, making sense of our paradigm too. Body so light, not even a shadow, no depression in the damp dirt underneath the plump belly. When I lift its body in my hands, I cup flesh to kindle heat for the others. I repeat my process. Hold breath, stay still, attune, a mew, step into its ghost. Again. They've scattered themselves into points on a map of disorder. Clouds murmur as I collect them. Not too far, a kitten is stuck between a tree trunk and house. One has its noodly leg caught in the web of a veiny root. The furthest screams at sweating grass. The last I find too late. Surviving is a matter of circumstance. Home sip rain or inundate. A man drenches in a 2-ton truck. A kitten remains dry by a tree. Their limbs torsion like tired salmon. I clump their bodies. One sucks the foot of another. Furry kidneys gasp as a lung. I leave them alone for now. Their mother may be hunting to return and feed them bellyfuls. My presence is a counterspell. Yes, a mother may return or be dead. It's counting intricacies of tragedy that inspires a profound thirst. The logic of abandonment happens. Think full storm drain and engulf. To see lines of silver and consider who are in cages. A tree has toppled, made boat by currents. Kittens smush into each other, groaning like a house straining against the anger of gusts. Their eyes will not open for another week. Their ears will remain folded for a few days more. The only sound is water falling into water. The only sight is every surface bound with water, every smell infected by the specter of water. I dream of awakening on a brown raft floating about an alabaster nebula. When I check on them the next day, I dig a wet hole behind my wet house with my wet hands and bury them together. I'll hear mews and door openings instinctually. In hissing of faucets, I lay on my back and become their evidence. All right. This next one is called A Fourth Grade Dance Party in a Cafeteria at 1 p.m. is My America. Children file in with fluorescent sneakers, chirping across a blue-gray chessboard. Adults are all at work. I chaperone. Lunch ladies load tired pennies into cylinders. A man mops a corner. The gym teacher cues a clean playlist. No child must do anything except what music inspires. Mira, this barely lit dance is a nation of motion. I lean against a wall and be its facilitator. A scheduled bell rings. The children recognize one song, then another. Those who know how form a mass and sway to the beat of a 90s hit. More children join in this stewing of joints and sound, knowing their dances like the Millie Rock, the Juju, the Running Man, even ones before their birth like the Macarena, the Wobble, the Cha-Cha Slide. Each child becomes another. These must be inherited languages since movement has been our truth. I witness a song's lyrics progress until words everyone has memorized plays. Children sing in one mind from many voices. I need not be a member of this congregation to be saved by it. The next bell rings. The children have grown with ache and understand things end prematurely. A song, a dance, this nation. The adults continue their labors. I file children back into a line. Lunch ladies remove their hair nets. That man mops that corner. Gym teacher is just a gym teacher. We go back to class and learn math or science or a history. In the face of what needs change in this country, I'm still a child. All right, the next one is being high in a movie theater on Westheimer's My America. Tracking shots of broken teeth kaleidoscope my phantom skin. When I remember to look up, they're talking about a bomb in someone's country to be dealt with as a metaphor for how perfect an empire's engine percolates. Wait, all the characters are played by one white actor, switching wigs and inflating lips mid-scene using CGI. The sidekick is someone's Theo in a canary body, crooning, "You're right, compadre." Hold up, that's different. That's an insurance commercial from 2002. This guy's different, doing the same voice, playing a villain who wants revenge. His origin story is, quote, "America took everything from me." Cut to the right bomb resting in the womb of a red school. Quote, "He's taking this too far," the white actor responds, while we're staring at my empty hands. This is too obvious. I mean, there's even a scene where the white actor says they don't see brown, black, white, blue, purple, blurple. I already can't remember how the movie ends. It's okay. I'll daydream it later, because right now I have to not fall down some stairs. I leave my seat. Pebbles of stars blink me to an exit, like I'm leaving an orientation to enter an afterlife. Now to pick the correct door. By the time the lobby lens flares me, I realize the movie hadn't ended. Oh, fuck. I'm too embarrassed to complete what I paid for. My eyes panoramic and focus on a family not mine, but very much mine in a sitcom about me. The child pulls their mother to a poster for a movie about a laughing dog played by that white actor. The mom reminds him, quote, "Y si Dios quiere," which translates to, quote, "I will give it everything I have, but there's a plan we aren't a part of yet." The child then leads her to a coal-eyed robot conversing with edible doubloons. Please let my psychopomp be so generous as to guide me to my eternity by the hand in a humming stroll, like this child navigating the legal sugars of a concession stand, and not along a path of throat-singing rocks lit by electric veins, echoing from a screaming vortex I'm about to be tossed into. For savoring sins I was notified of, well in advance, in writing. I asked someone for water, who informs me of an apparatus over there that miracles it by pushing a lever with a paper cup. I hate being this vulnerable in public, that someone will see me for myself and ask, "Are you okay?" The accurate answer is, it's complicated. Since there comes a time in a man's life when he reaches 30, something he didn't think possible at 20, over drinking beer as bitter as gunpowder he was supposed to be buried in. Duh, I'm that man. The real question is, if this is a nation of tradition, how are United's catchphrase? To which I'll slur, "I drink and love and surrender at my own expense," which is about half true. When I finally finish the movie, it will have won several awards. All right, and then the last poem I'll read from this series is "The 73 bus near Belfort around 5 p.m. is my America." The cold air hurts twice, breathing in, then out, and every sidewalk is cracked. I step inside this bus. People rest in steel pews. The tires sing with strain. The street is an infinite film. Buildings exist until they don't. There's no need to look in someone else's eyes. This bus is a nation of waiting. I sit and become its citizen. At the next stop, 10 black and brown mothers with their children join this nation too, but every seat is full. The tired sigh all at once and rise to their feet. The main unspoken law is no mother or child shall suffer within their waiting. The second, silence. This is America, absolutely, but no one here shall be its victim. I stand and a mother settles down with a child in her lap. How grand to witness this altar of the primordial love between creator and creation. I surrender to its peace and find comfort in my irrelevance. Let anyone that disrupts this milagro be buried in hot sand, the ashes left to nourish the growth of their enemy. I am 23 stops away from my exile. The passage of time has a call tone and hangs through a bus engine that becomes part of the air. We all breathe in its droning. As the bus stops for me, the brakes scream with purpose. I get off and watch this ferry pass. No one there will remember me. Every nation is a means to an end. This is a nation that completes beyond me. And so that's that for that series. I'll probably read maybe two more poems from another series. So I'm working on the next book, and so these next two poems are from that, and kind of in that same thing about series poems. This poem is just, I mean, this next book is just nothing but series poems. Like um, they're all based on the apocalypse and the many different ways we experience it every day. Um, what is I believe right now there's a wildfire in Canada that's kind of and it's one of those things that just it doesn't stay there. That's kind of the thing. It's like while that place is facing its apocalypse, like we're all kind of around it. There's different parts of the world that they're kind of facing their own apocalypse, and so for me as a Houstonian, that's something I'm confronted with like every other season, whether it be like due to extreme cold, extreme heat. A plant explosion, uh, chemical plant explosion, or flooding, hurricane, all that good stuff. And so that might sound like a bummer, but the point I think for me for poetry is that it's let me process a lot of these things in a way that helps me reflect about what life means and what can I do with this information and what can I do as a poet. And so I'll read two poems. This one is an apocalypse based on what if nature took everything back over? And by nature, I mean the green, like the greenery of it. And I don't think that's a bad apocalypse. Actually, I think that's probably like a good one. So this is apocalypse scenario 050-777. Houston became a landscape of rolling hills, so thoroughly emerald, every contour a heaping bowl of sovereign forest, every street now a bustling bayou, every freeway now a community of corn, every other building now a fractal map of arboreal architecture, each skyscraper an oak tree with branches as intricate as nations of neurons. Each garage a conservatory for grids of pistols never to be burdened by human imagination. Parks now clusters of arterial oaks who navigate their traumas together in silence. Loam caked every mouth screamless. Sediment sealed every throat swallowless. Every epidermis shimmered with velvet moss like a mink coat of malachite. Every hand clenched into a fist of roots. Every brain blossomed into floral fetus. Every vein powdered into a strain of pollen. Every burlap belly split open like an eye, weeping a waterfall of tender grains. A mushroom mosaic of a skyline arose where I'd nourished. Philosophies germinated based on the flavor profiles of each of my organs. My heart belongs to the neo-maximalists, my kidneys to the proto-structuralists, my liver to the post-nihilists. We debated the substance of my DNA before compromising that my ancestors are coffee beans and corn kernels in no particular order. We then unanimously resolved that the sun and the moon would be our final competitors in a game of admiration. Let's see. Let's do scenario. So this one's about heat. I don't know how hot it gets in where you are, but Houston, I think we've had some pretty consistent 90s temperatures, and it's humid. So you just as a Houstonian, when you walk outside, you just accept that you're going to have an extra cup of water in any part of your body at any given time. So this poem is apocalypse scenario 100-999. The sun grafts seawater to my dermis till I'm sausage-skinned and molasses-blooded. Heat is a bad fuck. A gun-firing engine exhaust from 7 cylinders into my mouth. Every chichara squeals of thirst. Every dog barks at once. Sound itself is both the dam and the river. I'm a concrete home where heat enters through the front door and flames lick each windowsill's lip. I'm tired, y'all. I'm composed of crawfish boiling alive all day. Their attuning claws are my nerve endings mid-surrender. To say I'm hot is like describing a galaxy as really big. When I breathe in, bread becomes toast, becomes burnt. When I breathe out, a glacier topples. Whoever's fault this is, I'll spoon feed them their mother's ashes, glowing horseshoes right out of the smell, ghost pepper ground with rattlesnake blood. That still wouldn't be fair to me. I'm a solar flare the sun spit into a nebula of gasoline, a lit match tossed into a heap of cotton soaked in tequila. My skin splits like chorizo, birthing magma and fat. My mind's a radiator broadcasting during a Bayou City summer. To say I burst is like prefacing a bomb is loud. A pale worm convulses into cigarette ashes, mapping the trajectory of a broken rocket. They name my final form according to its shape, inkblot. And so there you go. That's it. I'll do it for now. Thank you so much for listening. As I said, thank you to the Frost Place. Shout out to Eduardo C. Corral. Uh, Shout out to Vivi Francis for the consideration for reading my work. And thank you to Patrick for the introduction. Thanks, y'all.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Reyes. So, before I read, can everybody hear me okay? I don't know why I think you can't hear me all of a sudden. I want to thank our wonderful faculty, Kathy Fagan and Deborah Paredes, our participants this year, who always bring so much generosity and wisdom to the seminar, and our wonderful director, Stacy Holmes. Recurrent threads for this seminar have been suffering, witness, extremity, and the dead. This afternoon, Eileen Cleary let me know that someone who's been important to many poets over the Northeast, Neil Silberblatt, is actively dying now. Neil organized literally hundreds of readings over the last decade and gave opportunities to so many poets to connect with readers and audiences. I'm dedicating this reading to him and to his love of and service to poetry. At the center of this new book, Willowhammer, is a poem sequence about a crime that one of my family members committed. The speaker is an ex-Catholic seminarian, stand-in for me, who doesn't really want to think about this crime, so he tries to disappear into etymology and Latin poetry, Ovid, Catullus, Horace, etc. But this doesn't work because their poems are full of this crime. This part of the book is an explanation of not wanting to know. The speaker is weak in that way, but also about being forced to know and to carry knowledge. The sequence is called Scenes from Latin Poetry, and I'll read from that. It begins with a couple of epigraphs in Latin. Qui tacet consentire videtur. Silence gives consent. Veritas odium parit. Truth creates hatred. Willow flower. You know how you can know some things, but forget you know until it's time to remember? Mom met her third husband, Billy, when she was a teacher, helping convicts get their GEDs, and he was incarcerated at that prison. When he was paroled, they wed in the backyard with the petunias. Excuse me. They wed in the backyard with the petunias, plighted their troth, as they said, while I sang a song, lyrics from the Song of Solomon. A garden enclosed is my sister, a spring shut up, a fountain sealed. And then Mom brought this Billy person into the house with my actual sister, who at 14 was skinny as a willow in flower. 8 years older, I was far away, gone, useless, just the three of them in that house. Billy had looks and strength, a crew cut and a drawl, and my sister was a teenage votress of chaste Diana, goddess of a whole moon of not wanting it. Billy chased her, and as in all the old stories, she ran. Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon. But my sister was constant. She constantly didn't want his goat breath on her neck. She'd rather die, and after that she would try several times. Later, Billy said it didn't happen, a thing the gods always say. And Mom said if it happened, my sister should have run faster or changed into a tree. Later, Mom said she never said this, would never say such a thing, said they were both drinking, said she didn't know, said about herself that she was a terrible, terrible mother, inviting us to contradict her. My sister didn't tell me for 20 years. I didn't know. That year I had been in a seminary, for fuck's sake, chaste votary of pale Jesus, while my sister ran away, lived on the street, and I didn't know, didn't hear when Mom and Billy broke up. And when he went back to prison for holding up a Circle K, I was mopping the marble chapel and studying Latin. Da mihi multa basia mea bella puella, translating Catalyst for a test. Da, imperative case. He commanded the girl to give him hundreds of kisses. So many, a bewildering number, to shake everyone into confusion. No jealous person could touch him because no one would ever know the true number. After 40 years, having excluded the word rape from a certain poem, I asked myself, do I know anyone who has been raped? It took me a moment. Billy, a boy's name, like Billy the Kid, diminutive of William, Germanic, meaning helmet of desire. The word Billy in Urdu means puss, pussy, pussycat, shaft, and preventer. People want to forget that the names of God include the delayer, the subduer, the compeller, the distresser, constrictor, humiliator, abaser, avenger, the taker of life. Baby, I've seen angels drive the wind, in which I consider an etymology. Willow flowers, called catkins, appear in early spring before the leaves, from Middle Dutch, cateken, meaning kitten. Female catkins consist of a single one-celled ovary and a small, flat nectar gland. The tale of Murasaki. Genji had been away for an undetermined while, but one night while Murasaki's mom was cashiering at the truck stop, 7 to 11, Genji came back to the house where Murasaki was alone. He peered through the blinds, circling the house, pounding on the doors and windows, howling, I only married your mother to get sex with you. Certain he'd break in, Murasaki fled out the back and hid in the scented hollow of a juniper until Genji reached in and pulled her out by her hair. Juniper, from Latin, is compounded from roots meaning to create and youth, evergreen. The tree's tiny fleshy cones, crushed and mixed with alcohol, will cause a fetus to abort. A correspondence. The Tyra Empress leapt into the sea, after putting her warming stone and inkstone inside her kimono. Using a rake, the enemy pulled her out of the water by her hair. I gripped my sister and brushed her hair hard on a certain day when we were alone. Mom would leave the hospital. When she returned to the house, when the key turned in the door, every hair on our heads would be perfect, numbered, known. When my sister and I talk now, it's to compare what we can't remember. For instance, each other. Where was the other in the house all those years? Where was she on the day, etc.? Where was I when, where was everyone? Could the poem be in English? I remember a poet friend asking in response to one of my obscurities. But consider, this speaker may be trying to cajole the reader to ask what kind of person, in what state of mind, retreats from English, or rather blurts some English out, then runs away, unable to stay in a relationship with other people's pain in the vulgar language common to them all. This is because there's a monkish room beckoning to him from the 12th century, where he might talk to himself about various things he's read. There, the light is latticed, and after he's read the poem in Provençal, he might close his eyes and rest. Don't pretend your comforts are more defensible. Don't pretend your weakness is easier to forgive. Billy's tattoos. Naked girl in a martini glass. A peacock covering some older obscenity. Clipper ship in full sail. Cherries. Biceps, shin, chest, ass. He walked around in his boxers a lot. When my sister was 14, Mom told her sex with Billy was the best of her life. The Cloak and Dagger tattoo website says traditional ship tattoos symbolize new journeys, beginnings, home, good luck, a way of life, direction, bravery, honor, or even a troubled past. The Martini Girl was captioned Man's Ruin. Darwin wrote of the peacock, the sexual struggle is of two kinds. In the one, it is between individuals of the same sex, generally the males, in order to drive away or kill their rivals, the females remaining passive. Whilst in the other, the struggle is likewise between individuals of the same sex in order to excite or charm those of the opposite sex, generally the females, which no longer remain passive but select the more agreeable partners. But let's talk about those cherries on his ass. Let's talk about how my heart fluttered up the 2 or 3 times I ever saw him. Addendum. When willowy, unrequited, polygonal Lytton Strachey was asked, what would you do if a Hun tried to rape your sister? He answered, I would attempt to interpose my own body. A species of fruit fly. I read that it's difficult to keep cherry trees alive. The larvae of Ragalites cerasi with yellow legs and green eyes, having red reflections, feed on the flesh of the cherry until exiting via a small hole, which in turn is the entry point for an infection after rainfall. In the dream of cherries from my high seat in the branches, I eat them warm from the tree. I try Google, but the specific crimes of anyone incarcerated before the 1990s are hidden from my cursor. I'd have to travel to the archive, sit in a dark room with a microfiche. Billy Chester Hall, zero results. Show yourself, you devil. Show yourself. Every night before bed, the monks at Gethsemane Abbey in Kentucky turned to face a stained glass window showing the Virgin Mary shooting milk from her breast into the mouth of St. Bernard. The word metaphor comes from Greek and Proto-Indo-European roots meaning over, across, plus to carry, and also to bear children. And then the monks sang at her, Monstra te esse matrem, show yourself to be a mother, imperative case. A command not to prove virginity. Mary was already famous as a hortus conclusus, a garden enclosed, but maternity. But how does a person prove they're a mother? If you think about it, St. Bernard must have opened his mouth. Planned Parenthood invented fries, a memory model for consent, freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, specific, which must seem unforgivable to a person who longs above all things to forget. Some versions say the Virgin's milk hit St. Bernard in the eyes, causing him to see things that had been hidden from other men. I didn't consent to wanting to look, so monster, don't show yourself. Keep Billy ye gods hidden in whatever world he now inhabits, because what kind of dangerous would he still be if I found him? To me, I mean. In life, he had a gun. At this distance, can he hold a gun to my mind? Wizards make a hand sign for avert that looks from a distance like a gun. Point at the thing you want to fuck completely off with index and middle fingers together, thumb and other fingers circled underneath, and pop, away it goes. Only did that ever work? In what world? How do you prove harmlessness? It's possible there's still a violent smear of Billy's atoms somewhere on the world. If I were a wizard, would it be better to bind him or disperse him? Questionnaire. Asked why he didn't protect my sister from Billy, our real dad said, everybody goes through hard things. That's just life. I shot somebody in Korea. Should there be a statute of limitations? When critic William Logan called Franz Wright's poems, quote, the crude, unprocessed sewage of suffering, and suggested that after 40 years there should be a statute of limitation, Wright replied, I do not wish to kill you or hurt you, and so I beg of you to get away from me without delay if you realize we are in the same room somewhere. Delicate, the qualifications, the contingencies. Do not, without delay, if somewhere. Here is a curated list of rapes in Ovid. Alcyone turned into a kingfisher, Anaxarete turned into a stone, Arethusa turned into a lake. Callisto turned into a bear, then some stars. Cyane dissolved into a pool of tears. Daphne turned into a tree. Dryope, a tree. Io, a cow. Leucothoe, Nyctimene, syrinx. Frankincense, hoot owl, hollow reeds that rattle in the wind. Rattle, tittle, tattle when people are trying to rest. Why dredge up the past? For once, can't we just have some peace and quiet? It was Gia Tolentino who said, I think a lot of people in this world have turned into a tree and then turned back again. Palindrome. Finally, like and unlike that girl who begged any elemental that would listen to thicken her body so the god wouldn't chase her anymore. Every day this year, my body grew grosser and more rank. No god will ever wear what I leave in his hair. In his hair, no god will ever wear what I leave. My body, every day, this year grew grosser and more rank. So the god wouldn't chase her anymore. Her body thickened. Any elemental would have listened when that girl begged. Like and unlike, finally. Now I remember my little sister that was, little willow of glass, upon whom he laid his hammer hands. Thank you for listening. Mm. Thank you so much, Reyes, for joining us tonight. We absolutely loved your poems. And join us tomorrow night, everyone who's here, for when the participants will read their own poems. Thank you so much.
Thank you.